Whoa, how are you? What's up, Lisa? What's up?
And we have how long? Until 11:40, is that right?
Yeah. Is this 5 or 4? 4.
Anything from an introductory standpoint you guys do, or should we just?
No, I have a real quick question. Do you believe in 11 wishes?
11 wishes. I don't have any idea what 11 wishes are.
Every day at 11:11.
I'm sorry.
She does.
I can't, now I'm sorry.
So yesterday at 11:11, did you wish for the mayor to be here today?
No.
Well, then I can't help you.
I actually missed 11. Very sad.
Like most days. She goes off at 11:11.
Just
Like,
Love.
in her head, she just, every day, like, on the dot.
All right, fair enough. Well, you gotta do something at 11:11, you just do whatever you gotta do.
Are you staying or? I jammed the coffee.
Everyone just. Jump down.
Sure did. Woohoo! We got changed. Okay, this is Mayor Jensen, so he's gonna be our last speaker today.
What's so exciting about this? Like my kids.
I know.
No one's gonna get them. I don't know. I don't know either.
I thought he was gonna ask. No.
All right, well, first and foremost, thank you guys for letting me be here. Talk to you guys about a number of things, if that's all right, because I know that this is really about pathways and trying to figure out career paths and kind of give a little bit of exposure to what's out there, right? Because the school is going to be asking you guys to identify when you get to my age. And that's not an easy decision to make, right? Especially the imagination. I'll tell you, when I was your guys' age, I didn't have any idea what I wanted to do. I had no clue whatsoever. And when I graduated high school, I went to the University of Nebraska and I played football down there. And when I showed up on campus for the first week of classes, I was a pre-architectural major. I didn't know really for sure what I wanted to do, but I thought the idea of designing and building things was something that appealed to me. But after a couple weeks of football practice and trying to go to the labs and understanding what my class schedule was going to look like, I really had to make a decision because I didn't have time in my mind to be an architect or a Husker football player. And so I had to stop and think, which one did I want more? And at the time, I wasn't that passionate about being an architect. I wanted to have a white helmet with a ribbon on it. And so I decided that I was going to play football. And after literally about 2 years of being undecided of what I wanted to do, I decided business was something that appealed to me. And I liked the idea of handling money. And the irony was that I'd never had any of it myself. I was about as poor as you could believe when I was growing up. I grew up, if you guys know where St. Paul Road is, there's a trailer court on St. Paul Road called Pioneer Estates.
I lived there.
1414 St. Paul Road, number 93 was my address. And my family was bored and I didn't know any different and it didn't really bother me. But I liked the idea of money. I liked the idea of working with it. I liked the idea of helping people with it. And truthfully, I liked the idea of making it. I'm trying to figure out how I was going to be able to pay my bills. And so I started my path at that point in time, really started going towards economics and finance and trying to understand how things work, how money works, how the economic system works. And I graduated from there with a degree in both finance and economics, and I wanted to be a stockbroker. And for 20 years now, that's what I've done. And I'm the mayor, and I'm also the high school soccer coach here. But my main job and my main career is I'm a financial advisor. And every day I have in my control and that I'm responsible for over $100 million of people's money. So there's a lot of responsibility with that. So there are people that retire and they give me all of their life savings. They've worked for 40 years at New Holland or Diamond Engineering or the city of Grand Island or a teacher or whoever it is. And with that, they say, here, take care of me for the rest of my life. And so the responsibility is enormous because if I don't handle their money appropriately and they lose it all, then that comes back on me. And there's nothing that I like about the idea of telling a 75-year-old they're out of money and they gotta go back to work.
I'm sorry, what was that number you said?
$100 million.
100 million.
Yeah, a little over that, depends on the day, sometimes anywhere from 100 to 120 million. And so my background and everything that I've done it's about understanding what to invest that money in for people, but it's about coaching. Okay, let me tell you what I mean by that. My job, so I have about 850 or so families that I work with that have hired me to be their financial advisor. And those 850 or so people, I'm essentially their family's CFO, their chief financial officer. These families come to me, these families come to me and ask me questions all the time. Should we rent or buy a house? Should we lease or buy a car? How much insurance do we need? All these types of things. And I coach them. I coach them making really important decisions. I coach them in helping them decide how to put their kids into college, how to save some money, so that way when it comes to that point in time where they have a child like you guys that's in 9th grade and are thinking about going to school, do they have any money set aside to help out? Whether or not it's all of their tuition, maybe it's just helping them out with their books or those types of things, to set up strategies for that. And so that really is what I enjoy doing. In my office, I have a dry erase board that's about, probably a little bit bigger than that screen. And I will have my clients come in, sit down, and usually what I do is I draw. And I've got a pretty elaborate computer program that would put people's, what I call digital plan of record in a computer for them. But I do an awful lot of drawing because people understand simple math, they understand simple drawings. And so when we do all that, it paints a picture for them of what things look like. And so because I've been doing that for, like I said, almost 20 years now, there were some people that asked me to get involved a few years ago with the city of Grand Island and asked me if I would be interested in running for the mayor's position. And I said no. I didn't have any interest in that. I had too much stuff going on. But I looked at the things that I do for a living as a financial advisor and the coaching piece of it, which I do here at the high school as well as with my clients, and thought, you know what, being the mayor is a lot like being a coach and a financial advisor. And so I've got about 500 or so employees that I'm responsible for in the city. So we've got the ones that you're familiar with, so like the fire and police department. They'd like to not do that anymore. Thank you. We got the fire and the police department. We got public works. We got utilities. So when you flip the lights on, somebody with the city's got to make sure that happens. When you go and flush the toilet, you know, the water. So fire, police, the planning, we got all these different things that I help coordinate. And it's just like being a coach. I've got a really good team down there, and they all do certain things really well. And so my financial background, though, helps me with the budget piece of it. And the budget piece of it is trying to figure out how to most effectively spend all of the tax revenue and the fees that we collect from everybody that lives here or visits here. Because people want their lights to come on. People want to be safe with the police. If they're down 911 and need an ambulance, they need to make sure the ambulance gets there. They need to make sure the road is good in order to get there. And so when I'm working with the math piece of it with the money, it's understanding a budget. It's understanding that we have a certain amount of money coming in, which only allows us to spend a certain amount. So it's a lot of the same things that I do if your mom and dad were clients of mine. And we talk about budgets, we talk about planning, we talk about goals. Being the mayor, the same thing. So much overlap. That's why I decided to do it. And you know, I can tell you, it's for the most part, it's been a really rewarding experience because I went to school right there. And you know, I had an awful lot of classes in the senior room. And I remember my homeroom where it was at. I remember where my locker was at. And I had classes right here in this room. And so, being from Grand Island and being able to represent our community now means an awful lot to me. I get to be the face of the community. I get to go and do a lot of really cool things. And, you know, like today, there's a whole group of veterans that are coming back on a hero flight. And, you know, they were out in Washington, D.C. for 3 days. And I get to go and shake all those guys and gals' hands as they get off the plane. We're going to do that. It's going to be really cool. We did it for the first time last year. And every one of those veterans that got off the plane were absolutely in tears because they were so happy. And I get to stand there, shake their hand, give them the key to the city, thank them for their service. I get to go to Lincoln and strategize and work with Governor Ricketts on certain things. But I represent my hometown. I represent Grand Island Senior High every time we go somewhere with my soccer team. I put on the purple and wear the GI. And when I was your guys' age, so my junior year here at Senior High was the first year that the boys soccer program even existed. I was team captain my junior and my senior year. And now I get to coach this team. So I've come full circle with that. So I'm the very first team that ever came here, played on for 2 years. Now I get to coach them. I've coached them for the last, been the head coach now 10 years. And so it's an awful lot of fun. But I can tell you that if I lived somewhere else, so if I lived in Kearney, I don't think I would want to be the mayor of Kearney. It wouldn't appeal to me. Because I wouldn't have grown up there. Nothing against Kearney, it's a nice community. But this place has a special meaning. And this school has a special meaning for me. Because I went to school here, I coached here. Now I have kids that go to school here. And as I said, I've got a daughter that's a sophomore here. I've got a son that's a 6th grader that goes to bar. And I've got a daughter that's in 3rd grade at Solid Park. And so what I do as a coach, as a dad, as a mayor, financial advisor, all those things affect my 3 kids an awful lot. And so I pay a lot of attention to that. I plan to be the soccer coach here for another 6 years. And then after that, I'm going to let somebody else do it. Because my son will graduate 6 years from now. And he loves soccer. Good little player. And his last game here will be my last game. I'm going to walk off the field together. And then somebody else can pick up the the page and take over. So, that's a little bit about me, okay? I wanted to share kind of a background of everything. And I want you guys to answer or ask questions. Okay? It's all 30 minutes, right? So, not anything about 11:11. Know anything else you guys want to know about?
Anything?
St. Paul Road. Not St. Paul.
Yeah.
1414 St. Paul Road, number 93.
So, my mom owned, trailer, long distance.
Correct. If that answers something.
Yeah. We lived there for most of my
The
childhood.
lot that I lived in doesn't even exist anymore, because when they built the train track up, they had to take it away. My house, literally, was from here to the other side of it, so where that other, where the 100 wings at, that's where the train track is at. That trailer sat there, and every time the train went by, it's crazy.
Does he kind of sleep?
Yeah, you get used to it though. But you know what, I had a younger brother and 3 younger sisters. We had this little cul-de-sac, they'd play out there. And as a parent, I can't even begin to imagine how freaked out I'd be. Because the only thing that separated our place from that, where the train track was at, was this barbed wire fence. That we went through all the time. Because I had a really good friend that lived on the other side of the tracks. And man, I can't imagine thinking that my 6-year-old's out playing, you hear a train coming. Here she on the tracks. But makes you appreciate things as you get older. So.
Anything else you need to know on here? Don't be bashful.
No kidding, come on, I have 30 minutes.
What's the need for this application?
What skills? Okay. I'll tell you guys, one of the things that I talk about all the time is marketing. Okay, now let me tell you guys what I mean by that. Because it doesn't matter if you decide to be a financial advisor, a mayor, a coach, a teacher, a police officer, a nurse, a doctor, a lawyer, whatever it is. You are always, 100% of the time, marketing yourself. You're marketing yourself to potentially a future spouse. You're marketing yourself to potentially future in-laws. You're marketing yourself to employers. You're marketing yourself to friends. And I'm going to tell you, that right there, once you figure that out, is going to be an incredibly important thing. Because you know what I do when people want to come work for me? What's your name? Anthony. So Anthony, let's say you want to come work for me.
Look at my office.
That's what I do. Yeah. So if you're sitting at my desk at City Hall in our office and you want to come work for me, one of the first things I'm going to ask you to do is pull out your phone and show me your Instagram and show me your Facebook. And I will tell you, more than likely, I know that you're coming in to see me. I will have already creeped around to see if you've got that stuff. And you stuff. So here's my point. The marketing piece of who you are is really important to me. So I want to know who you are when nobody else is around. We all do dumb stuff every now and then, right? I did plenty of dumb stuff. But I wasn't dumb enough to put it on the internet for all the world to see. And if you're dumb enough to put it on the internet for all the world to see, then I'm going to question you. So marketing is something that I would tell you is a really important skill for your professional development, whatever it is that you decide to do. My job specifically connect with people, because understand something. Anthony, if you just are getting ready to retire and you've worked for 35 years out of New Holland, standing on concrete, welding for the last 35 years of your life, and you've got $500,000 sitting in the bank with Fidelity. And that happens a lot. There's a lot of people that have that type of money that have worked for a long time. But I'm talking with Anthony and I'm saying, you can trust me with your entire life savings. And I know what I'm doing. And I'll take care of you. I'll take care of your family. I'm guessing that you don't care what my GPA was at Grand Island Senior High. I'm guessing you don't care anything until you figure out whether or not you can trust me. Right? I'm telling you, that right there is a big deal. The other thing, what I would tell you about is self-motivation. I just told you guys about my background a little bit, right? I like to joke, I was so poor I couldn't even pay attention. But, let me tell you another side story. Remember I told you I played football for the Huskers?
Yeah.
I played for 3.5 years. I was a free safety, played a little bit of corner, and I also punted and I placed kick. In the summer of 1994, I had to quit the team. You know why?
Because you have to find out politics.
Of course, I was walking, and I was broke. I had to go collect the stone. I had to figure out how to pay my bills. I had to figure out how to pay my tuition. I had to figure out how to pay for my education. So in the summer of 1994, I came back here and I worked at New Holland. For 3 months, I put hydraulic lines on compound. And it was way before it was renovated and nice. It was hot and it was miserable in there. So I worked my butt off that summer and I saved about $4,000. But I had to quit the football team because I didn't have any money. You know what happened in 1994? My team won the national championship. We beat the Miami Hurricanes. And I cried on my couch that night. And I tell you, it's still tough. I think about it all the time. I was the only one in Lincoln, I guarantee you, that was cheering for the Miami Hurricanes that night. Because it was tough on me. And all my friends that were on the team, I had them in classes. I see them on campus. We go to parties together. And there I wasn't a part of that. So we have all of these national championship ceremonies. The guys get fitted for their wings and all that stuff. And that's it. And I could have made the decision, truthfully, to transfer. Could have made the decision to start drinking or using or doing something, because I had a hell of a good excuse. And I decided, you know what? I got to keep my head down. I made a decision. I got to keep going forward. In 1995. So, what happened in 1995? Won the national championship again. Are you kidding me? We beat the crap out of the Florida Gators. So there it is, my team. My team. It did. It sucked bad. So my team, 2 national championships that I wasn't a part of because I didn't have any money. And I made a decision that I was going to do something with my life. I didn't know what it was, but I was going to do something because I didn't want my memories of those days to be my excuses for what happened later in my life. Sometime if you guys are ever down at City Hall, go to the front desk and talk to our receptionist, ask to see me, and I'll take you back into my office. In my office at City Hall, I've got a picture. And on that picture, there's a letter that's framed in that. And it's a letter from my position coach, Coach George Donaldson. And he wrote me a letter after I I told him that I was going to walk away from the team. And it was, number one, I thought it was great that he took the time to write me a handwritten letter to somebody who was just quitting the team. So he wrote me a 2-page letter. He talked about how good I was playing and how good of a guy I was, and stopped by sometime and see him at the office. But he also made a reference in there about how he understood because of my need for money. And so on this, I have the letter, and then it says the rings of champions. And I've still got some rings. We kicked a lot of tail back in the day. We were good. We won Big 8 championships, lots of them. So I've got Big 8 championship ring from 1991, Big 8 championship ring from 92, Big 8 championship ring from 93. Got an Orange Bowl ring from 93. But there were 4 rings that I didn't get. 2 national championship rings and 2 additional Big 8 championship rings. So on this picture, I've got my letter, and I've got a picture of the rings that I have, and underneath it, I got a picture of the rings that I don't have. And I look at it every day. It stares me in the face. You know what I see? I don't look at the rings that I have. I look at the 4 that I don't. And I use that every day. Every day I wake up as motivation. So the skills that you guys are maybe looking for, me to say, well, math and some of that stuff, it's in here. And that's something that understanding that you're always marketing yourself and figuring out ways to motivate yourself will get to the best life skills that you ever develop. What else?
If someone wants to be a financial advisor, how many years of school and what type of things?
Yeah. You know, you don't even have to go to college in a lot of what to be a financial advisor. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, don't get me wrong. But if you want to be a financial advisor, number one, you have to understand some of the things I just talked about, the marketing and self-motivation piece. Because you know what? I don't have a boss. I've never had a boss. Nobody ever has made me get out of bed every morning and said, hey, you gotta go to work today. But you know what else? I've never had a guaranteed paycheck though either. So I don't have somebody telling me that I gotta be to work at 8 and I have to stay till 5. But if I don't go to work, I don't make any money. And when you're fresh out of college, you don't have a guaranteed paycheck. Things are a little scary. So to be a financial advisor though, there has to be all of those first pieces, because you have to have somebody like me be willing to take a chance on you. You have to be trustworthy, because I'm not going to introduce you to any of my 850 and all that $100 and some million if I think you're going to jeopardize my relationship with any of those people. You have to be willing to learn. And then I think you have to be a little bit of a coach. The other stuff, truthfully, you can be taught. I think it's really handy to have a degree in things like finance or economics or marketing. I don't know that it's necessary. But once you get hired, so I've decided to hire you to be a junior advisor or associate advisor at my firm. You have to take tests, you have to get licensed. So you have to have some pretty decent aptitude with things that have to do with money. And there are people that truthfully can't pass the test. I'll tell you, there's an awful lot of people that want to do what I do because they think it's a piece of cake. They think, man, you make tons of money and you get to go play golf and you don't really have to work if you don't want to and all this other. I'm working 24 hours a day. because if my phone rings and my clients need something, I have to be able to get it. But I've also spent 20 years developing those clients. You don't just walk in day one and start managing over $100 million a month. You walk in day one and maybe you get somebody to give you a $10,000 check, and that's how you start. And then you get your second client, then you get your third client, then you get your fourth client. And if you do things right, then your clients become the biggest advocates of your business. I don't advertise much, guys. You know, my new clients come from my existing ones. It's that guy that worked in New Holland that has a friend that's now going to retire, and the guy that I know that I've worked with for the last 3 years, they maybe go fishing together all the time. And they say, hey, you get ready to retire, you gotta go see my guy. My guy's taking really good care of me. And I trust him. And I talk about that. That's what people care about. I will have people that will walk in and I'll be like, here, here's my life savings. And you don't even have to tell me what you're going to do with it. Because you took care of my friend, and he said, you're my guy. So here you go. I'll tell you what, I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? When you think about it. But that's the way human nature works. And one of the questions on there was something that was most rewarding by your career. And there's a lot of things, but I'll tell you guys, there was an older gentleman that I worked with that worked for Chief Industries. He worked for the contract carriers division. We lived clear up north, north of Greeley. And he came into my office one day and he said, Jeremy, you've worked with so-and-so, and I'd like you to take a look at my stuff because I want to know if you think that I can retire sometime soon. His name is Keith. I said, Keith, so I met with him several times, and with his wife, Joyce. Went through everything. I said, you know what? I think if we do things right, you could retire right now. Really, if you wanted to. And he was just dumbfounded. He's like, really? Yeah. I think we could do it. We put this plan together and we stick with it, and it would be fun. So we made the decision to retire. He lived in Creighton, Nebraska. So he retires. He gets a job part-time at the bowling alley. And he's just hanging out in the day. In the mornings, he goes to school bus. And he goes and drives the school bus and picks up kids, including his grandkids, takes them to school, goes to the bowling alley during the day, chills out during the day. There comes time for kids to get out, leaves the bowling alley, drives the bus, takes kids up, takes them all home, and he goes. And just love of life. And about 3 months after this, his wife called me. And said he was in the hospital. Found out that he had stage 4 cancer. Didn't know it had happened. The guy wasn't sick until of that week. Within a month, he's gone. Joyce called me the day that Keith died. Joyce called me. She went home from the hospital, called me and said, Jeremy, I want to thank you for everything that you did. And Keith and I talked about this, and he would like you to be a pallbearer. I'm like, so 2 days later, I drove up to Creighton, pallbearer in the kitchen. And nobody there had any idea who the hell the guy was. There's family and there's all these people in Creighton. They're like, who is the tall, blonde guy? We've never seen him before. And there I am. I'm carrying in this guy's casket. And they walked around and introduced me to everybody. This is what the financial advisor. Talk about a cool thing. And you know why? Because they said that if I wouldn't have sat down and coached them and walked them through everything, Keith would have worked until the day that he died. He would have never had the opportunity to do what he did, even if it was for a short time. And one of the things that you learn when you're in my business is that longevity doesn't last forever. Right? Pick up the newspaper any day. Pick it up today. You're going to see people in there that didn't think they were going to be back. Young people, old people. Accidents, become illness. Happens all the time. So what I do is I help put plans in place for all that stuff. And it's a pretty cool career to get. And I'm going to tell you what, there will never not be a need for people to do what I do. Every single person out there needs a financial advisor. It doesn't matter how much money they have. They need somebody that they can pick up the phone and call and say, tell me about this, what do you think about that? They need somebody to help them plan for if things don't work out the way they think they're going to. Stunned silence.
Quiet as
Got 10 minutes left, what you do? By the way, I was a big Kiss fan. You know, I remember something.
I would just love to.
Okay.
Why? Everybody does that. I am a music guy. That's what I do. And people that just buy t-shirts, it kind of bothers me. It's like, this is easy.
Well, I like your shirt.
I didn't say
He
it.
doesn't, he was like to judge it by.
I don't judge people either. Okay.
All right, back on topic.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
What's that? Are you telling me to get the hell out?
I mean, you don't gotta go home, but you gotta get there.
Where's my shoe?
No, I'm saying thank you, because I learned a lot from listening to your story.
Yeah.
Almost cried a few times, but.
Well, let me just, I'm gonna fly through these real quick. This is possible talking points. Most rewarding project, I've talked about that. Why did you choose a particular career? Talked about that. How does your career affect the world? Oh, okay, let's go on stock exchange. I think one of the things that if you are not financially sound, it's difficult to buy a house, right? It's difficult to buy a car, it's difficult to put your kids in college, all those types of things. So if we had an entire country that had no sense of their financial well-being, we'd be kind of up the creek without how that. Why do you choose this job? Can you describe your typical day? We'll do that real quick. My days are anything but typical. I spent an awful lot of money, probably 4 or 5 years ago, for a couple of years, and I hired a business coach. And I want you to think about that. I hired somebody to coach me. And I was pretty successful. I was doing a lot of things that I hired somebody to do. That's all I needed help. There's, let's say Tom Brady. Tom Brady's got a quarterback coach. I don't like him, but he's pretty good. So he's got a quarterback coach. Tiger Woods, when he was in his heyday, he had a swing coach. And it doesn't matter how successful you are, as soon as you're thinking that you got it all figured out, you're going to screw up somewhere along the line. So I hired a business coach. And I paid this business coach an awful lot of money every month to help me figure out how to handle my days, because I was running all over the place. I had $100+ million I was managing, with 800 families. I was trying to grow my business, and I'm going just nonstop. And I paid them a lot of money for them to first tell me to take a free day every week. Now, I want you to think about it for a minute. I don't have enough hours in the day the way it is. And I'm writing somebody a pretty big check, and the first thing they tell me is to take a day off every week. I was kind of thinking to myself, I need a refund. Right? But after about 3 months probably of kicking and screaming, I finally listened to them. I took a free day. I took Wednesdays off. And on Wednesdays, I didn't return emails. I didn't do anything. It was a free day. I'm going to the yard, took my kids to the pool, went to play golf, whatever else. But when I did that, I knew something. I knew that Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, and Friday, I better be on my A game. Because I didn't have time for much else. For those 4 days, I was laser focused on what I had to do. And I developed time management skills that you wouldn't believe. My days are planned out to a T. And it all happened because of that. So I would work my tail off on Monday, Tuesday. I'd recharge my battery on Wednesday. I'd come back Thursday and Friday. And then I'd have a weekend. And then we do it all over again.
So you still take that free day on Wednesdays?
Not on Wednesdays. Friday afternoons now.
Oh.
So because I decided to run for office and do mayor, I don't have enough time to take a free day. The Friday afternoons are my time. And a lot of times Fridays, if I can make it work. On my calendar, Friday mornings is priority scheduling only. And all my staff know that. They better do something pretty important, otherwise they can wait on it. So my days are pretty hectic. But without paying all that money and doing that other stuff, I would have never had the courage to run for mayor. Because I would have thought there's no way in the world I'd be able to pull it off. True story. I sat my kids down. One at a time and asked them if they'd be okay if their dad ran for mayor. It was the day before the filing deadline. And I sat them down one at a time and I asked them. So my oldest daughter, Jada, at the time, she was about 7th grade. And I said, Jada, come up here. I want to talk to you. I said, sit down over here. I'm going to ask you one question. I want you to answer me honestly. And she was like, sat down, me and Mom sitting across from her. I said, I want an honest answer. And I kind of giving her the look.
Yeah, exactly.
Trouble.
Because it's like,
oh,
what? Am I going to be in trouble for something? Like, yeah.
What did they find out?
And I said, Jada, what would you think if your dad was the next mayor of Grand Island? And this is exactly what she did. She went, Dad, I thought for sure you were going to tell me Mom was pregnant again.
Wow.
And I said, so are you okay with it? She goes, yeah. She got up and walked out. So, and the reason why I asked that though, because it's a commitment that my family has. And I try to include them in a lot of things. But, you know, the time piece of it gets to be a challenge because they all have activities still. And I tell a lot of people no for things that have to do with the mayor, if they have conflicts with my kids' activities. They get priority. And that's important to me. It's important for my kids to know that. Anything else? I know we're running out of time. I've already been asked to leave once.
I didn't say you had to.
Was this beneficial to you guys?
Yes,
Yeah.
there.
Good.
Well, thank you very much.
You guys see any of my players in the building today? Tell them I was here checking to make sure that they were in class today. I got home really late last night.
Oh, you can't see me.
One of the pictures.
I'm right here. Right here. Can't see Kobe. What's the touch?
You ever see him around?
You talking about like
Do that again?
dream
Right now? Ew, you just like push my.
That's what you did last time to me.
Or what?
Be here, you stop playing. That's like, that sucks. That's like, I can't even like.
It's, something that I'll never forget. Just like sitting on the couch watching the game. And ripping the Miami Hurricanes apart, I'm thinking to myself, what? I should be able
95 was the last time you won since though.
No, we won it.
Oh, okay.
97, we beat Tennessee. But I was already graduated there.
Yeah. So it's like,
That's when we beat Peyton Manning in Tennessee.
that, okay.
All right. Well,
Thank you very much.
all right. Video was good enough. You guys want something else? Let me know.
Okay.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Yeah, you guys.